My final question would be the presence of the military. At the end of the day, they had to bring in the military. Of course, the NDC surrounded them, chanted songs of revolution. Finally, they got out. To what extent do you think that even the mere optics could jeopardize our democratic credentials?
The one who sent or commanded the military to be there was politically childish and infantile. He shouldn't have done that. You didn't need the military to be there to... what did they go there to do? When they went there, they went to actually aggravate the situation. And so the practice of use, abuse, and deployment of soldiers to attempt to deal with matters that pure police and civilians can handle is unacceptable, is politically infantile, and must be condemned. Soldiers themselves are not happy when they are deployed to do this. They are trained to defend the territorial integrity of the nation, and they are not people who are trained to be handling or dealing with brawls that could be ironed out by consensus on the floor of parliament. It's politically infantile for anybody to think about deploying soldiers to go and tell members of parliament what to do. It doesn't happen. And you saw what was happening in America. Regardless of the demonstration and how annoying the demonstrators were, it was the police that was trying to push them away and all that. They could have also brought in soldiers and all that.
They didn't bring in the National Guard, by the way.
We quickly want to deploy and abuse the military in everything that we do. It is politically infantile.
Leave us with your thoughts on Alban Bagbin, what he brings to this rather interesting set of parliamentarians that we have.
Well, first of all, I was quite surprised that the MPP decided to nominate Professor Michael Quay, my mentor, my teacher, that I thought was quite tired and had to be rested. And I was thinking they would have nominated a new face, somebody who enjoyed or enjoys the support of even the NDC. So in my earlier write-up, I put it out there that the best person for them should have been Freddie Blade, but they didn't listen. They went again with Professor Michael Quay. I knew it was going to be difficult, and yes, clearly this is the result. So you have Alban Bagbin. Like I said, he's an experienced legislator, and I expect that we wouldn't see him as a typical divisive Speaker of Parliament. He is not your typical NDC person who will be there to do only the bidding of the NDC. Events in previous times show that yes, he's sat as a second deputy Speaker of Parliament, and if you look at even his contribution in the latter part, as an MP, to the issues of Parliament, he looked at issues dispassionately and all that. So my view is that he is going to be like Peter Alagite, who was a former MPP chairman, but when he became Speaker, he asserted the independence of his office and looked at things dispassionately, sometimes to the annoyance of even the party that selected him to be a speaker. But this is a kind of the type of speaker we want. Somebody who understands the issues and who will be firm, and nobody can rough ride him, and nobody can disrespect him. So I expect. I don't think that all is lost for the MPP. I believe government business can still be carried out, and I do not expect Alban Bagbin to do anything that will make him overly partisan in sabotaging government agenda. I want to believe that he would work with all sides, and once you have enough consultations and there's mutual respect, I believe parliamentary proceedings will go on and government business will not suffer.
And speaking of which, President Akufo-Addo indicated that he's willing to wholeheartedly, as he puts it, work with him. Your thoughts on the president's speech as well?
No, it's an excellent speech, just that the president has no choice. I mean, this is not the time for you to, for any president to want to throw his weight about. You have no choice than to work with them. And so for me, he stated the obvious.
You came close to blows. What are some of the cracks and how are you going to deal with them?
Like I told you, and this unfolded live on national television and everybody saw it. There were embarrassing moments. Conduct unbecoming of members of parliament across both sides of the house. There are people kicking ballot boxes, in protest at what they thought wasn't going right. There are people snatching ballot papers. I'm not going to defend any of it. I'm not sure who's going to defend any of it. In the end, we all must quickly come to the realization that we have a democracy to rebuild. And these cracks that have shown up are things that we have to quickly reflect. How do such disagreements even get better resolved in the future so that we don't have this kind of spectacle? But how do we continue with the consensus building, which has started now, to ensure that we're able to deliver the kind of governance that the people of Ghana want?
What do your standing orders say about some of the behavior? Because under normal circumstances, if someone were to snatch a ballot box, if some of those things were to happen, and some of those people took the oath right there, what does it say?
All of that is water under the bridge now. I think we have a task ahead of us, which is to rebuild these cracks, which is to ensure that we focus on what the people of Ghana want us to focus on, deliver value for them. I think that's where we should push our energy.
So these members of parliament, so to speak, will go unpunished. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not the speaker. I'm sure leadership and the speakership will have a view on that. But for me, the most important thing right now is that we have observed conduct we should not have observed. It's an opportunity for us to learn and to build from it and move forward and deliver what the people of Ghana want. Let's all focus on that.
Let me come quickly to Kasiel Atoforsen on this beat. Now, I'll pose the same questions to you. Very embarrassing spectacles that we witnessed, never before seen in the Fourth Republic. Your immediate reaction?
I think it goes without saying and admitting that indeed what happened today.
Honorable, if you could speak up for us, please.
It goes without saying that what happened today is indeed very embarrassing. It is not good. It doesn't augur well for our democracy. But for me, in the end, I think democracy has succeeded. What has happened today is a victory for democracy, in spite of all what has happened. In the sense that, for the first time in our history, we have indeed elected a Speaker of Parliament from the opposite side. You have someone who will be the President and the Vice President pending the petition, and also having a Speaker of Parliament from another political party. That in itself for me is something that we have to be happy about. It is victory for our democracy. In spite of the rancor, seeing the military coming in, for me, is the lowest of all what I've seen in my 12 years, or almost about my 13th year I've just started in Parliament. I have never come across a situation where military with weapons, including bombs and whatever it takes to enter our chamber. That in itself for me is the worst of all what I've seen. For me, that is worse than what Honorable Carlos Ahenkura did. That is worse, because I take it like an attempt to dethrone democracy. For the military people to enter the chamber of Parliament is something that we should never condone as a country. And so I will urge the government of the day, leadership of Parliament, to take steps. And I believe that the people of Ghana deserves an apology. Members of Parliament deserves an apology from whoever sanctioned the military to come to the chamber. Because, look,
some have likened that situation to a coup d'etat. Is that what you would liken it to?
I mean, no doubt about that. It is indeed an attempted coup d'etat. Anything at all can happen. What we saw in there with the military coming in, for me, it's a dangerous thing, a bad precedent. And if care is not taken, if we don't condemn it and stop it going forward, will be very bad news for this country.
Honorable, let's wrap up on this point. Now, the NDC appeared very confident going into this, selection of a speaker that you would actually get the nod for your candidate, Alban Sumana Bagbin. Based on what exactly were you so confident?
We believe that the candidate that we presented, the Honorable Sumana Bagbin, has a track record. Remember, he's the oldest member of parliament. He has served in this house 7 continuous terms, 28 years in a row. So he has made friends. Not just friends, but family.
So let's cut to the chase. You didn't have the majority in parliament. So why were you so convinced you would be able to do this?
You see, we have 137. And we believe that he's that kind of person whose personality cut across the 2 divides. Because this has been his home in the last 28 years. And certainly, he may have had family, friends that have transformed into family members. And certainly, with the kind of experience and competence he has, everyone else, if you're objective and think about the democracy of this country and put Ghana first, you will consider Honorable Bagbin as a very formidable person who can help improve our democracy. And that's why I'm not surprised to see what it is. In fact, I'm even disappointed because I was expecting more votes than what we saw today.
Very final bit, I just want a yes or no answer. So is the NDC going to cooperate, have a bipartisan relationship with the NPP in Parliament?
There's no option about that.
Thank you.
No option about that. That must happen in the interests of this country.
Kasila Tuforsen, thank you very much for engaging us. Now, one of the Jinapo brothers is here with me, 2 of them on different sides of Parliament, and I'm going to be engaging the Member of Parliament for Damongo. Honorable, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir. And
so, like I'm
to your cherished viewers and listeners.
Right, like I'm doing with everybody, I want to find out, the August House of Parliament, you're expected to be decent, decorous, and all of that. What do you think about the scenes that greeted us this morning in Parliament?
Well, I think, first of all, this is my first day in Parliament as a member, and what transpired today from midnight to this morning is absolutely unacceptable. I think that it's a dark day in Ghanaian democratic journey. It's a big shame and most unfortunate. I mean, it got to a point where some of us had to even intervene to try and separate people from getting into near fisticuffs, and so it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it happened like that, but I think we've ended on a great note. We've ended on a very good note, and so I believe that all of us can take some pride and consolation in how proceedings have ended in Parliament this morning.
Okay, so right before I move on to Honorable Muntaka, who's actually Member of Parliament for Tamale Central. Honorable, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great. So I'd like to find out from you, the standing orders. There's been a lot of talk about your standing orders. In fact, I think some 3-4 years ago, we had, your leader, Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, talking about some of them and how they affect the work of Parliament. So I want to find out from you, with the scenes we've seen today in Parliament, is it something we should look at when it comes to your standing orders, the comportment of, parliamentarians? Is it something we should be looking at moving forward?
Well, I think what we saw today is not welcoming. It's not one to be desired. But when you look at it also, it's not particularly exceptional. I mean, if you look at global examples and the rest, I don't suggest...
But let's not talk global examples. In the Fourth Republic, we've not seen anything like this.
We haven't, and I don't suggest that it should ever happen again. But there have been instances of parliaments in Japan where seats are thrown at each other. I mean, even today, as we speak, the Capitol Hill in the United States is besieged by all manner of people and the rest. Passions can go up. I mean, in terms of people's vested interest, it shouldn't be. We should try to accommodate one another, and we should try to build consensus and cooperate and collaborate. But in the end, I mean, this is my first time, and I also found it a bit surprising that after all of it, people were embracing and negotiating and engaging, had the privilege of being involved in some of those discussions. And so, if the standing orders have to be reformed, but I think that this speaker already is sending a good signal as to how he's going to proceed. It looks like he will be firm. It looks like he will still disciplined, and we all have to support him and cooperate with him, so that at the end of the day, we can bring a lot more decency in parliament.
All right.
And I think in all, Ghana is one. Ghanaian democracy has won. We've elected a speaker. We've elected a first deputy speaker and second deputy speaker. We're going to swear in our president. And so Ghanaian democracy seems to be resilient.